January the 28th, 2026. Welcome back to the Two Witnesses Live. I'm your host, Watchful. And boy, do we have a ton of things to cover today. So we'll do our daily Torment report where we cover the posts and interviews of the two men who are tormenting the world the most, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And then we've got some updates on 3i Atlas, which I've actually had for a couple of days now. It's just we've been so busy I haven't had a chance to actually get to them. So we'll do that. And then we have several videos. There's a lot of stuff going on with Iran. That's probably where we're going to spend our time for addressing the House of Israel. We've got a couple of interesting videos. I don't know how many we're going to get through, but we got a ton of information. So we're going to start with Fury's update. Fury says, let's see, Russian fighter jet was shot down in the Black Sea, and there were no survivors. There was also a Ukrainian jet shot down. This is a spiraling situation. In Iran, the protesters breached the capital. The Ayatollah is in an underground bunker. They are threatening Tel Aviv. Of course they are. Trump is almost into place for a strike. Where are we at? We're January 28th. We're still 2 weeks away from the 17th. Be interesting to see what all goes down between now and then. There's an underground city where the Ayatollah has a hospital, a bunker, and a luxury surroundings in which to hide. The protesters sent spies in to infiltrate, sending back video a few minutes ago. Interesting. When pronouncing Khamenei, the K is silent. Do I have that right? Khamenei? Is it Khamenei or Khamenei? Is there any phlegm? I don't know what that's called. What is it called when you make that sound? Khamenei. Now that we are close to taking the regime down, European leaders are finally jumping on the bandwagon. Before they were against supporting them. Saudi Arabia is on the side of the Iranian regime, mainly because Saudi needs them to stay in power so they can remain relevant to the USA. If Iran is free and an ally of the USA, Saudi loses power and influence, and their oil is not as important. Saudi would then need the help and backing of Turkey more than ever. Great Britain is backing the Iranian regime. Isn't that interesting? And then I have a note here from Fury, who sent me an email saying, in regards to the little horn that we covered yesterday, yes, I know the war will start in Iran, but the regime is destined to fall. This is an artificial regime brought in by the USA in 1979 because Britain didn't want them friendly with Russia. So they got us to interfere. You would need to know the history to understand it all. I don't. Fury, we have you, Fury, for the history. I'm doing the best I can to catch up on this stuff. I thank you very much for sending me this information. It is invaluable, and we all want to know this kind of thing. We overthrew the Shah and brought in the current regime. Then we lost control like the idiots our government has always been. People don't realize it. But we have been working to regain control ever since. Our black ops are in Iran again. We are working to overthrow the regime just as we worked to overthrow the last one. And in the same way through a revolution. This is why you are seeing this happen right now. The timing is being carefully orchestrated at the right time, probably next month. Trump will strike in coordination with Israel. Russia and China. Maybe we should wait to report on this until then. Just kidding. Russia and China are also there. This will be a short war and a deadly one. The thing that worries me is the supporters that are infiltrated into the countries around the world, what they're going to do during this time. Russia and China are also there. Yeah, this will be a short war and a deadly one. The regime will fall. There will be a large trial afterward where war crimes will be announced. That is why Trump told them to document and take names. This will be a public spectacle when the prince is given power and the house of the Shah is restored. No, he is not the little horn, but an important refuge for Christians in the time that is coming. And this is the part that we really kind of want to get out there in regards to the little horn. The little horn is more likely in Mecca. which sits on 7 hills and holds the stone. Mecca will burn. The history of Mecca and the history of the Caliphate all match the prophecies. Mecca is the most visited city in the world. Islam has killed more Christians than any other religion. When Muslims pray, they face Mecca. Islam sees the stone as their most sacred object. It goes back to a goddess and an ancient pagan religion, connecting them to a pagan worship that is actually hidden from their people. Very interesting. Yeah. So I must admit, I seriously lack information in regards to Islam. This is something that I'm working to remedy. Thank you very much, Fury, for that. I'm ever grateful. All right, let's get into our daily torment report. Here we go. Starting with Donald Trump. We're just going to go top to bottom because I haven't had a chance to actually go look at their posts today. So hopefully there's no big surprises. All right. His pinned post. His pinned post. This is in regards to the ballroom. It's been pinned for a couple of days. We're not going to read it. Here is a nomination for Attorney General. Okay. I am pleased to nominate Colin McDonald to serve as the first ever assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement. A new division at the Department of Justice, which I created to catch and stop fraudsters. Wow. That's awesome. That have been stealing from the American people. My administration has uncovered fraud schemes in states like Minnesota and California, where these thieves have stolen hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars. Colin McDonald is a very smart, tough, and highly respected America First federal prosecutor who has successfully delivered justice in some of the most difficult and high-stake cases our country has ever seen. Together, we will end the fraud and restore integrity to our federal programs. Congratulations, Colin. Stop the scans. Lion Dog says, breaking. New measles breakout in Milwaukee. 50 people have been quarantined. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Melania, what is this? This is about her new film. That's annoying. The New York Stock Exchange. Okay. Guess he's proud of his wife. I still haven't decided if I want to go see that. I kind of do, but I'm not highly motivated. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Trump says it's too late to halt ballroom project, calls group behind lawsuit obstructionists. Let's see, Dave Bossy. 1 year since taking office, Trump is decimating failed D.C. status quo. I hate it when he posts all these articles. I don't want to go in and read them. Federal government must step up for election integrity. The S&P 500 just hit 7,000 for the first time ever. America is back. Surprisingly, Mayor Jacob Frey just stated that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws. Wait a minute. I thought they had a call. They had this sorted out. Dude, Jacob, come on, brother. This is after having had a very good conversation with him. Could somebody in the inner sanctum please explain that this statement is a very serious violation of the law and that he is playing with fire in all caps? 12 hours ago, he posted, "It is the same mindset that gave pro football the new and unwatchable sissy kickoff rule that made it impossible for Billy Belichick to not be elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Both are ridiculous and should be overturned." Ooh, here's a good one. So this one, a massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln than that sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal no nuclear weapons. One that is good for all parties. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Fury says they uncovered tons of proof about the 2020 election and connections to Maduro and voting machines. Lots of truth coming out and why Trump needed him alive. Yeah, I'd heard a little something about that they had recovered some machines and then some evidence. All right, what do we got? So this was posted 20 hours ago. Recap, POTUS with Fox News. Will Kane, the country is the safest ever recorded.
We took thousands of hardened criminals out of Minnesota, so they had good crime numbers, believe it or not. You know, we have Tom Homan there now. We put him in there. He's great. And they met with the governor, the mayor, everybody else, and we're going to de-escalate a little bit. These are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, oh, gee, that, you know, they're incensed about anything. How do you get incensed when you go into a state and you're taking criminals out? You're taking monsters out. You notice they don't mention affordability anymore. Prices were way high. Now I've got the prices down, and they're going down still further. But think of it. We brought fuel.
This is a true statement. I know some people may take issue with him saying this, but this is a true statement. There's a ton of evidence that many of these insurrectionists or these people who are obstructionists who are causing these problems, not only do they go from state to state wherever, you know, there's an intensified focus, somebody is directing their actions. And there is plenty of evidence that shows them moving from one place to another. They have the same people showing up in different crowds, and they're taking classes on what to do and, you know, how to behave. Somebody's handing out. You've seen the videos where they have all kinds of pre-printed and prepared materials for each one of these events, where they literally have T-shirts and whistles and gas masks and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Obviously, they're being paid. This is not people who are just angry and standing up. These aren't the people of Iran. Completely different protesters.
From $4, $3.50, $3.75 down to $1.99, $1.08. I was just told in Iowa, $1.85. Wow. Millions of people were let in through the border by Biden. The problem is, I gave you the best border in the history of our country. Nobody wants to talk about it anymore. You know, I did it a long time ago. I was able to do it within 3 months of taking office. I had that border locked. Tariffs have been indispensable towards success. We've taken in $600 billion in tariffs. I gave the farmers $12 billion last week. So what's happening is we're getting a tremendous amount of business coming to this country, and they're coming in fast.
I'm a farmer. How do I get some of that money?
A lot of this fraud, and I felt it for a long time.
Man, my wife, I got to tell you, ever since COVID, we have our animals are more pets than they are actually farm animals. We used to raise them actually to process the meat and the eggs. But ever since COVID, it's been more of a labor of love, because we spend way more money on our farm than it's going to produce. And should the Lord delay his coming, there's no way we're going to pay back the amount of money that we put into our farm. How do I get some of this money that he's giving the farmers? That'd make my wife so happy.
But now we know what's happening. And the answer is, yeah, there will be accountability. And a lot of what's going on with respect to Minneapolis, you know, with what's happening with all the hoopla, is so people don't talk about.
You think it's a distraction?
I've said it from day one. It's a distraction. You're talking about $19 billion. Probably that's a minimal number. We want safe cities and states. We want a safe country. And again, we just got a report done by Democrats that the country is the safest ever recorded.
All right, 21 hours ago, Patrick Aloco to Newsmax, Trump support still sturdy. Yeah, of course, obvious. If anything, it's gaining traction. Let's see, highly respected and very popular state treasurer Stacey Garrity is running to be the next governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. a very special place to me in that we had a landslide presidential election win just over 1 year ago on November 5th, 2024. Is it special to you for any other reasons there? Maybe something that went down that kind of was memorable? I don't know. I remember the assassination there that you survived. I think it was it was the assassination attempt that really, the way that he responded to that really was a pivotal time for a lot of people to get behind him and support him. There was Elon Musk was like the next day pledging millions of dollars to support him in his campaign. And then, there was one other one that I was going to mention that just slipped my mind. Oh, Jonathan Cahn recognized a lot of the events involved in that were very similar to anointings. If you haven't seen that video, it's well worth your time. Go look up Jonathan Cahn and Donald Trump's anointing. Very interesting video. He goes through the details, like the blood on the ear is actually a detail of the anointing. The shoes being taken off are a detail of the anointing. All very interesting things, well worth your time. All right, moving on. Let's see. Trump, U.S. not joke anymore as midterm push begins in Iowa. I think we're going to skip these endorsements. Trump nukes ABC reporter. She hasn't asked me a good question in years. I don't really like her. Aw. Oh, my goodness. It is a great honor to endorse MAGA warrior. Okay, these endorsements are ridiculous. This is an ad. It is my great... Oh, there's another endorsement. Anything else that we need to cover, sir? Let's see. Vigo County Commissioner. Okay, that is an endorsement. I think that's where we left off. That's an endorsement. More endorsements. Yep, there you go. That's where we left off. Donald Trump yesterday. So let's see if he's got anything posted at White House before we move on to Elon Musk. Yeah, we do. We got this right here.
I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Iowa with so many proud, hardworking American patriots. 12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess. We inherited the legacy of record high inflation. Mass invasion of our border, and our country was being laughed at all over the world. We're not being laughed at anymore. Just after 1 year of President Trump, our economy is booming, incomes are rising, investment is soaring, inflation has been defeated. Our border is closed, and America is respected all over the world. Our spirit is restored, inflation is stopped, incomes are up, prices are down, our economy is roaring, our workers are thriving, and our country is winning again, winning like never before. Together with all of you, we will make America powerful again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And most importantly, we will make America great again.
That reminds me of Revelation 13 that talks about the head wound. We were dead under the Biden administration, and now we have been made alive again, and the whole world...
They ruin your landscapes?
The whole world is marveling after after us. So every time I hear him talk about that and go through that little speech of his, that reminds me, Revelation 13. All right, let's move on to Elon Musk. And let's just do 15 minutes on Elon Musk. That way it'll give us more time to go through some of these other videos. So we'll set the timer at 15 minutes, start at the top, and make our way down. So first link posted is from Neuralink. Congratulations to the Neuralink team for helping many people who have lost the use of their body with our telepathy implant that enables computer use simply by thinking. The next generation Neuralink cybernetic augment with 3 times capability will be ready this year. Let's see. We now have 21 participants enrolled in trials worldwide. Check out how our neural knots are driving BCI technology forward. All right, let's see. There's no audio. Weird. All right. Well, it just shows them interacting with computers here. Did I mute the tab maybe? No, it's not muted. I think that's pretty cool. I know some people are freaked out by it. But when you're giving these people who are with these disabilities the ability to talk and move, that's just absolutely amazing. Or 3D print stuff even. That's cool. Very cool. All right, Melania Trump. What is this? It's just an ad. So Elon here is promoting her movie. Does that come out in 2 days? All right, from the House Judiciary GOP subpoenaed Europe's secret 183-page censorship order to X. The EU Commission's first ever fine under the Digital Services Act was against X and Elon Musk for $120 million, nearly 6% of its global revenue, for defending free speech. Now we know why. Leftist Euro bureaucrats fined X because it innovated its blue checkmark system and refused to give in to demands from misinformation pseudoscientists. Read below to see what Europe's didn't want Americans or anyone else to see. I don't know what I'm going to read. Is there supposed to be... Oh, is this like a PDF or something? No? There's nothing to read, dude. It's like the front page. Is this supposed to be a PDF? Maybe if it's like a post. Is it a post that you go into and read? We got some highlights here. Let's see. First, the commission fined 45, billion euros for misappropriating the blue check mark. That's a million. Yeah, 6 zeros, million. 45 million for misappropriating the blue check mark by awarding it to users who pay for a premium experience on X. Turns out the European leftists were very upset about losing their blue check marks. Stirring up trouble. Huh. Now that I can't read it, I want to read it. Yeah, so this is just the front page. All right, well, I'll find a link to that and see what we can look at later. Moving on, let's see. Why do Democrats want to allow illegal immigrants to vote? America's elections should be decided by Americans. Yes. All right, we're going to skip the businessy stuff here. It's not really relevant. Not right now. I mean, there is stuff that is kind of relevant, but we're just looking for the truth nuggets. Ooh, there's a social network for you. Truth nuggets. Let's see. That's Grok Video, Melania, X. Here we go.
Another major asset she listed in her financial disclosure is this winery. What does a Somali know about wineryism? Okay, that was in 2023. That was worth, according to Ilhan Omar's own financial disclosure form, between $15,000 and $50,000. But on her financial affidavit from a year later, that same winery was listed at a value of between $1 and $5 million. Just real quick. Why does a Muslim own an alcohol company? I thought that wasn't a thing in Islam. Anyway, it gets weirder.
Fair
Up until
point.
Yesterday, Benny Johnson was able to find their supposed inventory bottles and all the things they had, their office location, and a bunch of other information on the business. But as of today, those sites are totally shut down.
Surprise,
and
surprise.
any mention of their website has been wiped off the internet. I'm talking gone. The Wayback Machine, all these other crafty little archive sites, everything is gone. Like deleted the root service. I called my computer buddy Jim. He couldn't even find it with some fancy AR jargon bot machine for recovery. I don't even know, he was explaining it to me. He couldn't even find it.
Oh, there's
Which
people
is
who
weird
have there's
that a
people who have
company
backups
that
of the
boasted an
Wayback
award-winning
Machine.
wine, the quote double gold winner in 2022 San Fran Chronicle competition.
I'm sure we'll find it.
With a corporate value of up to $5 million would just vanish into thin air. They didn't sell it. Is it possible for this to be a functioning business and have absolutely no footprint, wiped from the internet, go from 1,000 net worth to 5 million in less than a year?
Well, no other winery on earth's done that, Carl. Anybody knows anything about this knows that the wine industry is under enormous pressure. Wineries, there's people pulling up vineyards and closing wineries, including some very well-known ones. People are drinking less wine. The economy is weighed on that in favor of cheaper alcohol options. So the wine industry has been in mad contraction for quite some time now. But more to the point, you have to have a federal license to have an alcohol facility. Where is her winery on the TTB website? That's the federal regulatory body that does this. So no, this doesn't exist, and it's a phantasm that the idea you can have a winery increase in value. Everybody else in the wine business knows better.
Yeah.
That's great. Track her down, find the stuff, kick her out. I love it. I don't know what do we got here. Newsom just exposed for massive Medicare scam. Sweet. I feel like we watched this already.
Let's talk about illegal immigrants. So Gavin Newsom was giving us a hard time for threatening the health insurance of illegal immigrants. Just to be very transparent, if you're on Medicare, you don't get free dental, you don't get free vision. You do if you're an illegal immigrant in California.
This is the infuriating
part. So anyway, so you got taxpayers in New Mexico, right, which is a blue state but a poor state, paying extra tax dollars to the federal government that are recycled back into LA to deal with the fraud that I'm talking about. So illegal immigrants, he's mad. We're horrible people. We're Republicans. You have no conscience. You have no heart. As soon as we made it clear we were no longer going to pay for illegal immigrants in California, what did he do? He took them off Med-Cal. Now, he didn't take them off, he took them up on the federal side. So in theory, only emergency services are going to get paid for illegal immigrants in California, which is a national law.
And is reasonable.
Reasonable. Now, we want babies delivered, car accident victims.
Yeah, of course.
Of course get health care, but not elective hernia surgery, cataracts. You have to be an American citizen who paid into the system to get these. So anyway, so we deal with this. Gavin says we're only going to pay for illegal immigrants through our own state-based system. We've audited him now. This data is coming out this week. We have now found over $1.5 billion of money spent wrongly. We've audited it. They're not even arguing. $1.5 billion from that California charged the federal government for illegal immigrants that they're not allowed to pay charges for. They have to pay for it themselves. He's not happy, but they're paying us because they know we're right. So you're going to see something happen very interesting in California. As soon as the money is being paid by California government officials, they're going to start getting more serious about this. And that's why it's so important for us to say, we're not into this anymore. I'm not going to let taxpayers in Alabama and Mississippi, New Mexico, our poorest states pay for the fourth largest economy in the world, and they get less.
Fair point. Gavin Newsom's another one that I hope that they really string him up. I mean, it's like we keep hearing so many things about what he's doing, and we can see the evidence of the destruction in California. Just look at the Palisades over water because they were trying to protect a stupid fish. I mean, these people are idiots. So I'm glad that they're finding this fraud. I hope to see it prosecuted.
California is already paying back $1.6 billion that they previously charged to the federal government for healthcare services given to illegal immigrants. But they have a much bigger fraud problem that hurts American citizens. So I've instructed Governor Newsom to produce within the next 3 weeks a comprehensive program integrity action plan to address major fraud in their healthcare system. I'm going to give you 3 examples of embarrassing fraud that Governor Newsom has been seemingly tolerating for years. First, California shares the problems that we are seeing in Minnesota with in-home supportive services. What are these? They include personal care like bathing or grooming, household tasks, cleaning and cooking, shopping, transportation. Now, these are tasks.
All right, we don't need to listen to that whole spiel, considering we only have about 5 more minutes left of Elon's timeline here.
I think we want safe cities, secure borders, sensible spending. Tell me where I'm going far right here. We want to have the right to self-protection. We should respect the Constitution and not try to break the Constitution. It's there for a reason. We should stop lawfare. But I think these are good goals to have. And right to free speech,
Yes.
First Amendment. If we don't have free speech, we don't have democracy because people cannot make an informed vote. So those are my controversial views. I think we want...
It's controversial. Those are my controversial views. Pretty much the things that made us who we are.
Perception of
Donald Trump, initially from the moment he walked down the staircase in Trump Tower to announce. And then over the course of 6 or 7 years, I realized that some of those fundamental things that I was told about him were just totally false. And there was enough content online where I was almost afraid, but it started with Charlottesville. I was almost afraid to look at it because I'm like, I think I was lied to. Mm-hmm. And then I saw it. I saw what he said, but then I saw the portrayal. I had originally believed that portrayal until I saw the truth. And then I just started to go down that rabbit hole. So for me, it was an evolution where I was like, I can't believe I'm being lied to by this group of people whose sole responsibility is to hold truth to power. The key word there is truth to power, not your perception or your desires. And I just think that red pilled me, I guess, in a way.
You know, and that's the thing about everything that's been happening. This is, I believe, the purpose behind the seals, because these are attributed. This period of time is attributed to Yeshua, the Lamb of God. That's what these seals are attributed to. He is the one who is credited with opening these seals. Let's go look at that. So that's Revelation 6. We'll just go back to the very first one. Now when I saw the Lamb, that's Jesus, opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, come and see. And then look, when the Lamb opened, the Lamb's not there, but it's referring back to the same Lamb. When he opened the 2nd seal, when he opened the 3rd seal, when he opened the 4th seal, when he opened the 5th seal. I looked when he opened the 6th seal. So these seals being opened are credited to Yeshua. Now, you might be wondering how he could be allowing or approving such disastrous and terrible things like the COVID pandemic, like Joe Biden, like these things. But look at what they're doing. This is what they're doing is they're taking people who, otherwise would not come to a knowledge of the truth and would not come to see that they've been deceived and lied to, and it opens them up to see you've been deceived. I think this is the reason behind these periods of time. Is it's the time of the harvest. Is these are valuable wheat. These people are valuable. They've been raised up with the tares. Now's the time to prepare them for harvest, and I think that's what's happening. All right, let's see. If a rogue union in California seizes 8% from paper billionaires for its pet project, everyone with a just cause will run to vote to seize private property, seize homes for homeless, companies for workers, savings for spenders. Once the goose is bit, don't be the last to the feast. Fair enough point. What is this? I think that's a Grok thing. More Grok things. Let's see. Democrats used to be in favor of deporting illegals until they realized they can rig the system by stealing from Americans and bribing illegals for votes. Today in the Electoral College and tomorrow with a pathway to citizenship that rewards them for cutting the line. And here's a picture of Barack Obama awarding Tom Homan, who is still in charge of the border, who was recently sent to Minneapolis to calm things down there, being awarded a purple medal of freedom. I believe that's what that is. Interesting. All right. Grok. All right, we are out of time with Elon. No! There's our boo alerts. No! Just give it a quick look here. Make sure there's not anything else that's important. I see a lot of Grok stuff. What's this thing? Don't pay taxes. Rothmus.
There is talk about how we're not going to raise taxes on people, we're going to raise it on business, on corporations. The most obvious example is with Social Security tax. Supposedly, that tax is half on employee and half on employer. But that's a fake. It's all paid by the employee. It adds to the wage cost of hiring a person. If an employer has to pay in addition to a wage, what is it currently? Close to 6% of the wage? Well, that's that much less that he has available to pay as wages in trying to hire somebody or bid somebody away from somebody else. But more fundamentally, businesses can't pay taxes. A business isn't a person. Only people can pay taxes.
Fair point.
A corporate executive may write the check. He may sign his name to it. But who's paying it? It either comes from the customers, or it comes from the workers, or it comes from the stockholders. Where else can it come from? Again, is there somehow...
All right, I got distracted with that. Fair point. I mean, like, if you there's a lot of crazy loopholes you can take advantage of by making things a business, because that's how you get around paying taxes. You just pass them on. All right, that pretty much covers Elon Musk. Let's get into some of these videos. What do we got? Let's start with, we haven't done a 3i Atlas update. We'll do a 3i Atlas update here. I've seen several of these. I really enjoy her channel the most with presenting these things. So just more images with Hubble.
The full moon of 3i Atlas in my last video. It has happened January 22nd. It's happening between a time frame from January 19th to January 26th. This is when we can see the most of 3i Atlas that we're desperate to see and to find out.
I'm going to go see if there's another update on
with
this.
A striking picture. We have the new Hubble images that were taken on January 22nd when it was aligned with Earth and Sun. So Hubble telescope has captured a series of images of our mysterious object, interstellar object / comet / alien spacecraft, or whatever the heck it is, 3i Atlas, this interstellar visitor passing through our solar system. Well, hopefully, right? We're hoping it won't turn around. So these Hubble images that we're seeing right now, they don't look like typical comet pictures. Again, of course, what a surprise. But listen, guys, there's more. There's way more that I want to tell you today. But before I do me a favor. Could you give me an early like and hype? That helps my channel, doesn't cost you a thing. And let's dive into this right away. So we see instead of a normal comet picture, I have to say, we see just a fuzzy ball with a tail, and boy, is that a tail, right? They show also this complex system of jets, and we have to talk about these jets again today. So long streaks of material and this strange symmetric pattern, that astronomers usually do not expect to see from natural comets, and they do not see it. Scientists have now processed the new images with a special filter that is removing the normal glow so that it reveals the structures that are anything but ordinary, guys. So what exactly did Hubble see on January 22nd as Earth, the Sun, and 3i Atlas lined up in a rare, nearly perfect alignment, one line? Hubble took fresh images of the object, and when the images were processed to remove the basic bright like haze around interstellar Atlas's core, we see a long anti-tail, unnaturally long, pointing nearly towards the Sun and Earth, meaning it's going the wrong way. We know that compared to typical comet tails, which are pushed away by the sun, by solar winds and sunlight. So then there is this system of three smaller jets that we see close to the nucleus of 3i Atlas.
All right, that's the main excuse me. That's the main update that I wanted to cover. Is they're still seeing they're still seeing anomalies, and the more pictures that are coming in, I don't see anything updated. We're expecting more information tomorrow or the next day, but this is basically, they're still saying that this does not look like a comet. This is giving signs of potential technology, because you have jets at very specific angles. You have an anti-tail, which goes against what they're expecting of an object moving away from the sun. Stuff like that. So it's just to keep this on everybody's radar, just because it's interesting timing, to say the least, considering what we have potentially planned for 2026. All right, moving on to other topics. So I thought you guys would enjoy this. This is a video about a prophecy surrounding the last hostage being returned from Gaza. Let's check it out.
Shalom to everybody. We received this significant news about the hostage, the last hostage, that his body has been discovered. And it's interesting, they discovered him based on his dental record. They knew immediately who he was. They brought him back. We saw the emotional point with the family. And I just want you to see how the Torah is connected to what's happening in the world. In Parashat HaShavua, Parashat Beshalach, we read that the bones of Joseph have been given to Israel to empower the signs and wonders and miracle. And even right now, we have to understand what is happening before us. In the Torah portion this week, the bones of Joseph are returning to Klal Israel. I'm going to make a bold statement to everybody today. I want to show you something amazing. In the Siddur of Yabetz, it says this, in Siman Chaf. It says, and I quote, "The month of Shvat represent the tribe of Joseph, who is the beginning of all the tribes." This is amazing, incredible. And in the book called Imrei Emet, it says the following. It says that during this month of Shvat, the tribe of Joseph will be returned in the days of Shovavim. Could it be that somehow the return of the last hostage represent the return of Mashiach ben Yosef? There is like a hidden meaning behind this.
The timing is suspicious.
Of all of them. You see, I want to reveal to you a great secret today. In the end of the Armada, and I want everybody to understand what I'm saying today, we say the Sim Shalom. We sing after Birkat HaKohanim, the Sim Shalom, and we say, Sim Shalom Tova Ubracha. Listen to this carefully again. Shalom Tova Bracha. What is this three letter? Shalom, peace, Tova, goodness, Bracha, blessing. It's Shin Bet. That is the word Shvat. Shalom is the value of Isav. Isav is the value of Yeshua. It is a message to all of us that the Shalom, the Tova, and the Bracha are coming today upon Israel. And the Sar Shalom, the one who is called the Prince of Peace, is returning very soon. Very soon, soon in our days. And who is it? His name is Yosef. That's why Rabbi David Miskvaria said, Shvat, Shemaram, Birkam, Tehran. It's three things that will happen when Yosef is coming. He will guard them, he will bless them, and he will purify them. Today, I want to tell you something. The return of this hostage in the month of Shvat is called here. Listen to what it is. Shvat, listen to the secret I am revealing to you today. Shmuot.
I don't understand half of what he's saying. One of the biggest regrets I have in my life is not learning Hebrew. I really need to slice some time away and start learning Hebrew. But I love watching this because it makes sense. I mean, like, it's so funny with what's coming and what seems to be coming in 2026 and his excitement about this. And I'm seeing this all over the place. I don't know if you guys are seeing this too across the internet with both Jews and Gentiles, Christians and Jews. Everybody is excited for Mashiach. I marvel at these things. I love it. I love his excitement.
Besorot tovot, incredible. The proclamation.
I think this is actually even a fulfillment of prophecy. Where am I thinking? I'll go find it while he's talking.
The good news. The month Shvat mean the proclamation of the good news. That's literally what it means. Besorot, Tevot, Shvat. What secrets that we have today. And may it be that this month that is coming upon us will be the month of Yosef. It's not a coincidence that the hostage returned on the month of Shvat. And now you understand the real secret behind it. The month of Shvat is the month of the good news, is the month of Shalom, is the month of Yeshua, and is the month of Yosef, friends.
That's right.
Make no mistake. It's not a coincidence that this is happening right before Rosh Hashanah for the trees. It's a sign for us from the heavens. Let us take those signs and the seasons seriously in these last days. I hope that you've been encouraged today. Please.
All right, it's Revelation 22. I didn't think it'd be so far in Revelation. The time is near. Then he said to me, these words are faithful and true, and the Lord God of the holy prophets sent his angel to show the servants the things which must shortly take place. Behold, I am coming quickly. Blessed is he who keeps the words of the prophecy. Now I, John, saw and heard these things, and when I heard and saw and fell down before the feet, then he said to me, see that you do not do that, for I am your fellow servant. Wait, where did I see it? Nope, this isn't it. This is Jesus testifying to him coming soon. What does that say there? He who testifies to these things, saying, surely I am coming quickly, amen. Even so come, Lord Jesus, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. No, this is not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the song. Where do they sing the song of his coming? All right. We'll move on to the next video. I'll keep looking. Let's see. So this one was really interesting. Do we want to do this one first? Yeah, so this one, and then we'll get into Iran. So this was very interesting because he's talking to someone. I wanted to play this video for you because one of the things that we can expect to see in the next like 6 months period of time, if we are indeed in the Great Tribulation, some of the things that we'll be looking for is, then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it, for false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out, or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. That's what I was thinking of when I saw this video. It's a pretty good interview. This is a great video to watch, but Just listen to what he says and tell me if you think the same thing.
That Jesus will come.
I say he already came.
He is the Mashiach?
Yes.
He's not, but in 2 months the Mashiach will appear.
In 2 months from now?
Yes.
I'm kind of excited.
At the end of March.
I hope so.
There is nothing really Jewish, Christianity, Muslim. It's just in this world.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's no real religion.
There is no. It's only for this world, for this seems gay.
There's nothing in the Tanakh or in the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, that says he came to start a new religion. So I'm going to bring up passages from the Old Testament and see if they know from where it is. It's not really a test to see how much they know, but what it sounds like. Where is it from, the Old Testament or the New Testament? So let's bring up some of these messianic prophecies. And yes, you found my new YouTube channel, Highway 53, so hit the subscribe button and come along for the ride.
כי ילד ילד לנו, בן נתן לנו, ותהיה המשרה על שכמו ויקרא שמו פלא יועץ אל גיבור אביעד שר שלום.
אוקיי, מאיפה אתה חושב שזה?
מהתנ"ך.
מהתנ"ך?
כן.
וואלה, איך ידעת?
Tell me if you guys need me to read the captions.
Yeah, it's from the Old Testament. And this one.
והוא מחולל מפשענו, מדכא מעונותינו, מוסר שלומנו, עליו ובחברתו נרפא לנו. כולנו כצאן תהינו, איש לדרכו פנינו, ויבא ופגיע בו את עוון כולנו. האמת שקצת חלוק לגבי זה.
אוקיי.
נראה לי מהברית החדשה.
מהברית החדשה? זה גם מהתנ"ך, מספר ישעיה. שניהם מספר ישעיה.
אוקיי.
From Isaiah.
אוקיי.
מדובר על מישהו שאמור בעצם לסבול עבור החטאים שלנו. למה חשבת שזה מהברית החדשה?
לא יודע, היה כאילו משהו קצת בנוסח שהוא נשמע לי טיפה מתגלץ שונה על הלשון, אבל כאילו חשבתי או לפה, היה לי במחשבה שזה או זה, לא משהו חד משמעי.
יפה. I'm going to tell you why I showed these to you. I'm a Jewish guy. Are you Jewish?
Yes.
I believe in Jesus though, like as the Messiah. And there are a lot of passages in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, that point to someone to come at a certain time from a specific place to do certain things. And Yeshua, Jesus, did those things on time from the place that he's supposed to come, because there's messianic prophecy that shows that he's supposed to come from Bethlehem, and he came out of Bethlehem. That the Messiah is supposed to suffer and take upon the sins of the world, and he did that. Before the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD, he did that. So there's many things that he fulfilled in prophecy, but we're also waiting for more. What do you think about Mashiach? Like, what do you think about when you think about Messiah?
מה אני חושב?
Yeah.
He will come and will make all the people first in Israel unite.
Nice.
He will make all the troubles and all the misunderstanding between people. He will make it one, all will be one. He will make everybody heal from all the things that happen in all of the, how you say, Gilgulim?
All the different
all the history. We are
history.
here 5,786 years. So we will make everybody understand, remember what happened before. And after we will make it in Israel, he will send people all around the other countries and make the world peace.
It sounds al TV.
What?
משהו הולך לעשות. It sounds al TV.
So he's saying it sounds supernatural.
Yes,
like
it is
supernatural.
Because he is. He is.
And you believe the Messiah is supernatural?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes.
I'm going to show you another passage. This one right here. שקראת. כי ילד יולד לנו.
All right, and so they're reading Isaiah 9:6. To us a child has been born, a son has been given.
בן ניתן לנו, והמשרה תהיה על שכמו.
And the government will be on his shoulders.
ויקרא שמו פלא יועץ
And his
אל
name will
גיבור
be called
אביעד שר
Wonderful.
שלום.
Oops. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God,
יקרא שמו פלא יועץ אל גיבור אביעד שר שלום.
Eternal Father, Prince of Peace.
עכשיו יש, there's names in here that are only for God himself.
Okay.
But they're calling this son Mighty God and Eternal Father. Do you think that those names could be given to a person?
I think
like
it's nicknames.
Messiah?
He have a name.
Yeah.
He have also these nicknames that is like Pele. He's like he's a.
Sorry. So he's saying he's got all these nicknames like Pele. He's Natina, like giving.
Netina. He have like all of these nicknames. That's like make his character something unusual. I will tell you something about Jesus.
Tell me.
Jesus came here.
All right. So this is kind of what I wanted you guys to see.
To make the Christianity. I think around 2,000 years ago. He was Michael, you know Michael,
The angel,
the archangel.
Yeah.
So Michael, Jesus is Michael. He came here to do specifically the Christianity.
Interesting.
Moses, it is the young brother of Michael.
Where did you learn this from?
So he's saying Moses is the younger. Okay, so what he's saying is he's saying that Jesus is Michael the archangel, which I do not agree with. I don't think there's nothing in scripture to support that.
The Christianity.
Interesting.
Moses.
He says Moses is the younger brother of Michael. In other words, trying to say Moses is the younger brother of Jesus.
It is the younger brother of Michael.
Where did you learn this from?
I know them.
No, but where did you learn it? Because because it's not in the Tanakh.
That's
These
right.
things.
It's not in the
I know.
Tanakh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Secret
I
knowledge.
talk to them.
Secret knowledge. Oh, you do?
Yes.
How do you do that?
I can't tell you how many conversations like this I've had. So this is I think we're starting to, well, these kind of things have been happening for a long time, but I expect to see these things during this period of time. Look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect.
I have a disability. You say that Jesus will come.
I say he already
He
came.
is the Mashiach.
Yes.
He's not, but in 2 months the Mashiach will appear.
In 2 months from now?
Yes.
I'm kind of excited.
So this is the first video I've seen where somebody is boldly proclaiming something like this, and I'm expecting I don't know what I'm expecting. I guess I'm kind of expecting, these kind of claims and probably AI video. Combined with the fact that we might be in the Great Tribulation, there could be an ulterior motive to marshaling people into these locations. But it very clearly says, do not believe it. Let's see, we'll show great signs and wonders. Let's see. So if anyone says to you, look, here's a Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he's in the desert, do not go. Or look, he's in the inner rooms, do not believe it.
The end of March.
I hope so. קראת את הברית החדשה?
No.
Yeah, are you interested in the ברית החדשה?
No.
Yeah, you have to be really careful if you're going to claim to have this kind of ability. If you claim that you talk to angels, you have dreams or visions, or that you're speaking to Jesus, the things you say had better come to pass, because you will very quickly be proven a liar. In the Old Testament, there were serious consequences for doing this. But it just makes you look like an idiot. I don't know why anybody would do this. I mean, I understand people so there is a very real reality of demons. I do believe that. I do believe the Book of Enoch is a genuine book that explains things. And I think it's a very good explanation for how we have evil spirits and demons, which arguably is the adversary that we fight against, because if you allow them, they will cause you to sin. And they can even be responsible for signs and miracles, so much so that the Jews won't even believe signs and miracles. I think that's a testament to many of them, because they know that people can perform amazing things, and it's not evidence of truth. It's just evidence of supernatural capability, which demons seem to be able to affect. The demons, because there's no place for them, they're doomed to wander to and fro in the earth, and who knows how many of them there are. There could be millions and billions of demons, evil spirits. So according to Enoch, demons are the result of the dead Nephilim. They're disembodied Nephilim. So when they die, because there's no place for their spirit to go, they wander the earth and they torment mankind. And you got to be very careful, because if you think you're talking to an angel, here's the thing. How to discern the difference between a demon and a true angel? Like, are you actually getting a message from Michael or Gabriel or something like that, or are you actually talking to an angel? If it's just winking and nudging and, pointing to things, probably, not something that you're going to want to go running your mouth on, that you're receiving special information. However, if you know, what we know about Michael and Gabriel is they look like men. You know, we read yesterday in Daniel, I was talking to the man Gabriel, and, you know, Gabriel spoke very clearly. So Daniel was given an image, given a vision, a dream, and then Gabriel very clearly spoke to him and gave him the meaning. You get a lot of people who will come on here and it's just, they play this game to where it's just like, I don't know exactly what it means, but, you know, I saw this angel and he was winking at me and I was looking at the license plate and then I noticed that the numbers, you know, spelled ABCXYZ, and I looked at, you know, it's just like there's this whole series of conspiracy theories that precede it. You got to be very careful with that kind of thing, especially now. Like this is the time to be on high alert with this kind of thing.
Really? Because Yeshua הוא בעצמו יהודי.
Okay,
הוא
yes.
לא בא
He's not really Jewish, but there is nothing really Jewish, Christianity, Muslim. It's just in this world.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's no real religion.
There is no. It's only for this world, for this Sims game.
But we live here.
Yeah, right now.
So.
But everything soon is gonna be in peace again.
Really?
Yes.
And you think the Messiah is going to do this?
In 2 months, you will see him.
Really?
Yes.
So maybe we can exchange information.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen, we can talk about it.
Yeah, it happened for sure.
Really?
Yes.
Did you hear that? Tell the world what's happening in 2 months.
In 2 months, you're gonna see who is the Messiah, who is the king of Messiah.
What's your name again?
Rochviel.
Rochviel?
Yes. I'm Moses' young brother.
You're Moses' younger brother?
Yes.
Are you a Cohen?
No, before this world.
Oh, before this world?
Yes.
Thank you for stopping.
I'm also Jesus' brother.
You're Jesus' brother?
Yes, also the young one.
Yeah, but you know that in the Brit Chadashah it says if you don't have the son, you don't have the father.
What do you mean?
It means אם אין לך את הבן, Yeshua, you don't have the father.
What do you mean you don't have the son?
Jesus came and he said, I bring a new covenant, a Brit Chadashah. This is the covenant that is in my blood, and it will be the covenant that takes away your sin. And if you put your faith in...
Just for the agenda. He came here to make the Christianity to divide the people more.
You think so?
Yes, to make the Christianity.
There's nothing that in the New Testament that says that. He came to bring everyone together.
That's what they say.
Well, to be fair, he did say there'd be a harvest and that the tares would be gathered up and burned. So there is a division.
Basically, there is a lot of good things in the Christianity, like that he spread love and everything. I didn't read it, so I don't really remember.
I have one, you'd like?
But no, I'm very busy.
There's nothing in the Tanakh or in the New Testament, the Brit Chadashah, that says he came to start a new religion. Kol ha'okvim shelo.
That's what he did.
That's right. He did. Jesus did not come to start a new religion. That happened after. People make religions. Jesus came to fulfill the Torah, to fulfill the law.
Happened.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yes.
But it was the continuation of the promises from the Tanakh. I'm Sheikh, the fulfillment. He says, I'm the fulfillment. He's the fulfillment of the law of Moses.
Yeah.
And if you put your faith...
Yeah, and he's also the fulfillment of the promise of God when when he talked to Adam and Eve and said the seed of the woman would bruise the head of the serpent.
In him, you will have forgiveness of sin and everlasting life. I consider it. I consider it.
Like there is, it's a long story.
Okay.
Okay. You will hear it.
Okay.
Soon.
2 months?
Maybe more.
Okay.
No, in 2 months you're gonna meet the Messiah.
Okay.
But I will tell the story maybe a little bit more in 2 months. All the story of what happened here before Genesis.
Okay.
And over the years.
Genesis, Bereshit, בעצם?
Yes.
Yeah, from Genesis on?
Yes.
Wow.
Genesis, what happened before Genesis,
yeah.
Why they make this world, and what's happened after.
Yeah, who made the world?
My father and mother.
Your father and mother?
Yeah, Yava and Anuki.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Nuki.
You're watching my brand new
Interesting.
channel and ministry Highway 53. If you love real street gospel conversations and big questions,
I do actually really enjoy real street gospel conversations. Reminds me of my youth. I've had so many of these conversations. That was a really good example of witnessing and sharing the gospel with somebody and just having a good conversation. Like he could have freaked out there with that guy suddenly changing like that. But he didn't. He handled it very well. Hey, let's get back together again in 2 months, because these are the people who are lost. These are the people that we want to reach. It's just like you need to come to a realization that maybe you're not the whatever he was claiming, the brother of Moses or the son of Moses. And maybe you're not talking to these angels. Let's get you on the straight path. Let's get you away from those things, and let's get you set up to think clearly. That was really cool. I like that. All right, let's move on to Iran. Let's listen to Gad Saad. I like this. We got 2 videos here. Douglas Murray, the son of Hamas. So this is about some things that we can expect. Let's start with Gad.
Duality concept. The world is divided into 2. There is Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. Dar al-Islam means the house of Islam. Dar al-Harb, Harb in Arabic means the house of war. So the entire world is broken up into either blue or red. House of Islam or house of war.
One of the greatest speakers of our time is the great Gad Saad. Here he is talking about what Islam wants to do to Western civilization. But I'd like to hear what you have to say about this video. So don't forget to leave your comments below. And of course, subscribe to this great channel, and we'll talk to you on the other end of the video.
Golda Meir, who was the prime minister of Israel, I think maybe the 4th from maybe 1969 to 73 or something around that. I might get the numbers wrong. She was the first female prime minister. Has a couple of quotes that really capture the dilemma in that region. One thing she said is that if the Palestinians learn to love their children as much as they hate ours or something like that, then would have peace. Maybe I botched it a bit. And the second one is that if we put down our arms, there would be a genocide. If they put down their arms, there would be peace. It has nothing to do with piece of land. It has nothing to do with contested territories. Let me break it down for you. I recently discussed this on the Joe Rogan show, but it's worth repeating here for those of you who don't watch Joe Rogan. Islam has the concept. It's a duality concept. The world is divided into 2. There is Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. Dar al-Islam means the house of Islam. Dar al-Harb, Harb in Arabic means the house of war. So the entire world is broken up into either blue or red. House of Islam or house of war. What does that mean? Any land that Islam conquers and then loses is forevermore canonically under the house of Islam. Any land that has not yet ever been colonized and conquered by Islam is in the house of war. It is to be conquered. That's why the end result is that Islam is peaceful, because it seeks peace through the unification of the entire world under the unifying flag of Allah. Okay? Now, in the Middle East, every single society that had existed prior to Islam has been eradicated, right? In Egypt, Coptic Christians were the majority. Now they constitute 10% of Egypt, okay? In Syria, there was huge Christians. Lebanon used to be a predominantly Christian country. Within my lifetime and yours, Lebanon went from being predominantly Christian to now being majority Muslim. Within our lifetime, not 500 years. What happened to the Iraqi Christians? Persia had a culture before Islam. Now it's become Islamic. So no ideology has conquered and colonized as much as Islam has. So if you're worried about the colonization of Zionism, then by any stretch of the imagination, if you're going to be logical, then you have to be worried and upset about the colonization of 56 countries that were once not Islamic. And in many cases, they became Islamized through brute force. That's why there is the sword of Islam. It doesn't capture that we're going to cut bananas together. It captures that I put the sword to your neck, and when I conquer you, I give you choices, 3 choices. Either convert or die or live as a dhimmi. Dhimmi means as a not even second-class citizen. You're a third-class citizen, right? So, for example, Jews and Christians have often been tolerated under Islamic law. So, for example, you hear about the golden period of Andalusia, right? Which is in current Spain. All that means is that you are tolerated until you're not, right? But you're always walking a precarious.
Yeah, and this is why I think that, so with what he's explaining with Islam and the way that it's at its very core is designed to dominate, and with the sheer number of Muslims in the world, what he's saying should be taken seriously, because what he's saying is you're tolerated until you're no longer tolerated. So you can get comfortable, think everything is okay, think, oh, this is a religion of peace, I don't have to worry about it. But listen to what he says about this.
High wire, right? On any given moment, you better put on your really fast running shoes and run really fast because your head's going to be detached. So we lived very nicely in Lebanon until we didn't, right? And that's the history of the entire region. Now, Jews have existed in the Middle East for thousands of years because before the word Islam ever came to be. So if we're going to use historical precedents, it's a game that the enemies of Judaism are going to lose. But here's what I propose. How about you teach your children that there could be people who live next to you? We can debate where we draw the line, but there is a group of people that have thousands of years of provenance to that land. By the way, Palestine, when you said Palestinians until recently, it referred to the indigenous Jews of that area called Palestine.
That's right.
Palestine, as you hear it today, is a concoction from the 1960s. There is no Palestinian people. They're Jordanian, they're Egyptian, right? There is no such thing as Palestine, other than it's a territory that has been mandated by different groups. A while back by the Ottomans, more recently British mandate, and so on. So imagine if we can teach the children of our neighbors that Jews have a right to exist. We can be neighbors. Let's love each other. It's perfectly natural for us to coexist. Do you think that Israel is actually interested in committing a genocide? Because if they wanted to commit a genocide, well, let's think it through. It would take well less than the time that I've been on this show today for every single Palestinian to be eradicated, given.
Yeah, so this is true. Most people don't realize this. Israel is one of the largest, most powerful superpowers on the planet, even from a nuclear perspective. And they, combine that with the United States, and if Israel wanted to commit a genocide, it would be over in a moment.
And Israel's might. Is that true? Is that a true statement? It is.
Sure.
Okay. Yet they haven't done. As a matter of fact, the Palestinian population has increased 5-fold. So Jews are really shit at the genocidal game because population increased 5-fold, right? When the Nazis were trying to exterminate the Jews, they were trying to get rid of them. They got rid of 6 million. So the reality is that Palestinians are taught that the highest value, to speak earlier about what we were talking about, what's your value, what's driving you in the morning. There is no greater goal than to liberate hence free Palestine, from the river to the sea, from the Jordanian River to the Mediterranean Sea, free of Jews. I grew up in that world. I speak to those people. I mean, now it's harder for me to speak to them in Arabic because they recognize me. But 25 years ago, when I wasn't as known and I could mix amongst the folks who speak Arabic, it was very clear. Jews are a cancer in that region, and we must get rid of them as we have all other societies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the great God Saad, he brought up some incredible points. Number one is that according to Islam, the world is bifurcated into two worlds. One is Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Hadaf. Dar al-Islam is the world of Islam. Those are the 56 countries that Islam has dominated and captured. And Dar al-Hadaf is the world of war. It's the existential threat that Islam wants to take over and to conquer. Dar Harav would include the United States, Canada, Western and Eastern Europe, the former Soviet Union, Australia, China, and so on. Their goal is to destroy these worlds through a different type of domination, whether it's through jihad, as we saw on 9/11, or we saw happen in Bondi Beach where they slaughtered 15 people, or we saw.
Yeah, and this is what worries me with the Great Tribulation. Fury, via email, had pointed out to me that February 18th is the start of Ramadan for the Muslims. Ramadan starts February 19th and goes through, or February 18th and goes through March 19th, which is very interesting. It starts the day after that eclipse. Kind of makes you wonder what might happen, considering that this fits the pattern. And by all means, it looks as though it could be the start of the Great Tribulation. It's such an interesting time to be able to look at this before the events happen. You've got the world, and I do literally mean the world, like moving their military pieces into place. You've got, Trump had talked about the overwhelming force that he's moving to Iran. You have Russia and China also moving their military into place, and who knows, how many invaders have come into the various countries. We know there are violent people. We know that there are those that we don't know who are here. It just seems like it's a setup for, what is described in Matthew 24. Nothing has ever happened like this on the planet before. You can pray to escape these things, and I believe that if you're in the Church of Philadelphia, that you will be kept from the trials coming on this whole world. And I would hope that would mean also the Great Tribulation, which I believe is what we're all praying for. But it's so interesting to be looking at these things before they happen. It's exciting because it means Jesus is coming back soon. That's the most exciting part. Yeah.
On Manchester synagogue a few months ago, where they blew up people in a synagogue, or we saw an intended attack which was stopped at the last minute of Islamists and the left wanting to blow up 4 sites in Los Angeles. That's one of the arms of Islam. The other war of Islam will be fought through political domination, through the Muslim Brotherhood, for example. They have a sister organization in the United States.
And I will say that what's interesting is the timing of all of this. When you look at Revelation 13, I never did find that. I didn't find where I was thinking of. The closest was Revelation 19, just to go back to that guy reminded me of Revelation 19. Yeah, right here. After these things, I heard a loud voice of a great multitude in heaven saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power belong to the Lord our God, for true and righteous are his judgments, because he has judged the great harlot who corrupted the earth with her fornication. But that's something that comes later. But what's interesting is in Revelation 13 is you've got this first beast, and then you have the second beast from the earth, and there's a lot of Muslim or Islamic imagery associated with these end times. It wouldn't surprise me if the Great Tribulation, if the point of it isn't to kind of destroy this first beast. So let's read a little bit about this. Then I saw another beast coming up from the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. So I guess there is still, the presence needs to be there. So maybe the United States survives. If I don't know if the United States encompasses the fullness of the first beast. It seems like, how we were reading yesterday in Daniel 8, to where the horns could represent both a king and also the kingdom. I almost wonder if there's not a dual purpose happening here, and causes the earth and those who dwell on it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Yeah, see, I don't know. I think we need to just, I know everybody's got an opinion on what this stuff means. I honestly don't think we're going to know until it happens. Like, the next 6 months are going to be extremely revealing. I think we're going to finally know what this means. But, causes the whole earth to worship the first beast. He performs great signs so that even he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beasts, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. I mean, I could be completely off on this, but the one who was wounded by the sword seems to be, if we're right about these things. So the rider on the red horse was given a sword, and it was the Biden administration that damn near killed the United States of America. But then it was the Trump administration and him feverishly, signing those executive orders for the first 100 days that really gave life back to the United States. That fits so much of the imagery in here that I don't know of anything else that fits. So it's like when you're putting together these puzzle pieces, you got to work with what you know in order to understand the things that you don't know. I mean, there's definitely a recognition of things I don't know in here. That's clear. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. So, if a head is a nation, which there's precedent for it to be, and I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beasts. So, and Trump is actually bringing so many people together. Maybe that's why that head starts to be to replace. It starts to be recognized as the beast itself. Maybe it's because everybody is getting on board with MAGA. You know what I mean? So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. Who are people worshiping right now? That's the big question. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who is able to make war with him. That's definitely happening with the United States, especially after Venezuela, with how they went in and just snatched Maduro with 0 casualties to the United States soldiers, and just completely incapacitating the soldiers. Like, talk about overwhelming force. And Trump is still saying there are weapons that people have never even seen before. So it's going to be interesting 6 months ahead. So, and he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and cause the earth and those to dwell on it to worship the first beasts. So I don't know. Maybe this is, I mean, Trump could have something to do with this. This is why you have to be very careful in the assumptions that you make. I'm very much an after the fact make claims. Until things happen, we don't really know what things mean. And you got to be careful not to view these things through your preconceived biases, because it'll muddy the waters. All right, anyway, let's go back to Gad.
States called CARE. CARE wants to take over the United States using law, using freedom to fight against our own freedom at this moment. They want to spread Sharia law. They want to make it forbidden to speak against Islam. That's the goal of CARE in the United States. So these are these two worlds which are fighting, and we have to understand that everywhere that Islam went the last 1,300 years has spread murder, death, and it was the end of Jewish and Christian civilization. For example, the majority of people in countries like Egypt or different parts of Syria, or for sure Lebanon, were Christian. And after Islamic conquests, the Jews and Christians were subdued, put into chains, and treated as third-class citizens. For example, Godsad's country of origin, his birthplace, was the country of Lebanon, which had 65% Christians at one point. But by the 1970s and 80s, there were about 10% of the Christian population. What happened? Islamic forces came in, dominated, destroyed the Christian communities, burnt their churches, and people had to flee towards the Western world. I mean, the same thing happened to the Coptic Christians in Egypt and throughout the entire Middle East. If you look at the Temple Mount in the old city of Jerusalem, you'll see the golden dome of the mosque planted on top of the two temples of the Jewish people that were there for thousands of years.
Yep.
So we clearly see wherever Islam goes, Jews and Christians are subdued. And that's why you mentioned this concept of dhimmi. People are treated like third-class citizens. They have the option to become a Muslim, to convert, an option to die or to live like dhimmi. And if you're dhimmi, you have to pay the jizya, which is a
see that when they're explaining that reminds me of the image of the beasts, the mark of the beasts. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. That sounds like they're forcing a doctrinal belief on them, to where it's like you convert to Islam, you die, or you become dhimmi.
A tax that you have to pay, a protection tax, like the mafia would charge people, that they would protect you. But if you go a little bit off stray, you would be killed or thrown out of your country. And this is exactly what happened in 1948. 700,000 Jews were kicked out of their lands. They lived there for over 1,000 years. They lived in Egypt. They lived in parts of northern Africa, Morocco, Tunisia. 700,000 people. Their land was taken from them. Their homes were taken. Their money was confiscated. 700,000 Sephardic Northern African Jews were kicked out of their homes without a penny. Many were killed as well in pogroms. And they went to this fledgling state of Israel that only had 600,000 people at the time. But they conquered and they won because they were coming back to their indigenous homeland. The Jewish people had been there for thousands of years. Even though Jews were kicked out of the land of Israel, Jews had lived there continuously for thousands of years. They fought back, and in 1948, when they declared their newfound state, many Arab armies waged a war of total annihilation and genocide against the Jewish people. And they continued to do so in 1948, 1967, 1973, and so on until we see the horrific massacres of October 7th.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned a very important thing. It's not about land. It's about ideology. There's 52 Arab Muslim nations surrounding the Middle East and Asia, and they have hundreds of millions of square miles of land. Israel is an extremely, extremely small country. It's about the size of New Jersey, so it cannot be about land. And of course, all the Palestinian suicidal and genocidal supporters and the left-wingers around the world are crying out from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, and globalizing Intifada. But what they're talking about is the absolute murder and genocide of the Jewish people. And that's exactly what we saw on October 7th. That's exactly the charter of Hamas, Article 7, which calls for the murder of every Jew in the world. And thank God we have people like God Sadi who are speaking truth, giving us a sense of clarity and awareness of what's really happening in the Islamic world today against Western civilization. But I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. So don't forget to leave your comments below. And of course, subscribe to this channel.
All right. So I think that was very valuable. Let's do one more video just to kind of start getting this idea of what the possibilities are, what to expect. So this is from Douglas Murray, Taken Back as the son of Hamas reveals what Islam will do to the West. This is the one that concerns me. You know, we're to pray to escape these things. What does that mean? What's available to pray for? You know, what does it mean to be kept from the trials that are coming on the whole world? You know, does that mean we're kept from the Great Tribulation? Do we have to go through the Great Tribulation? Is there something that we can learn so that we can prepare to better overcome these things? Because that's a theme in the scripture, is he who overcomes. Can we overcome these things? Can we escape these things? You know, what can we learn by, I mean, like, clearly we have foreknowledge on this. The scripture has given us information to see the trouble coming. What can we do about it? So let's continue on.
What does it take for the West to wake up to this reality? Because, I mean, you're aware of this reality. What would you say to them to communicate to them that this is real?
One of the biggest contributors to terrorism and violence are actually hypocrites. Because when we are hypocrites, we're not calling things for what they are. We see the Islamists' threat. We see what they're capable of doing. And when I say CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, they know the ideological dimension that motivates terrorists and terrorist attacks.
Two of the greatest speakers of our generation are the great Douglas Murray and Mossab Hassan Youssef, the Green Prince. Let's hear what they have to say in this riveting interview. And of course, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. So don't forget to leave your comments below and subscribe to this channel, and we'll talk to you on
You know what I have to say about it is this is all evidence that Mashiach is coming. He told us these things before they happen so that when they happen, we will believe. That's really the point of all of this, is these things are happening the way that his father told him they would, and he told his disciples, who in turn wrote it down so that we could know these things. All credit goes to Mashiach, goes to Messiah, goes to Yeshua for this.
The other end of the video.
I remember speaking with you almost 10 years ago now, after a set of attacks in France, in Paris. There was the Charlie Hebdo attacks, the attack on a kosher supermarket, then the attacks when dozens of jihadists rampaged through Paris, massacred people at the Bataclan Theatre and the stadium and coffee shops. And I remember then asking you about, you know, what does it take for the West to wake up to this reality? Because, I mean, you're aware of this reality because you grew up in it and you saw it firsthand, and you were a very unusual person in thinking your way out of it, which, I mean, is incredibly unusual. I would say that most Israelis today understand the reality that there's a group or groups of people who say, we want to kill you, and if they get the opportunity, they do. But the rest of the West seems to me, even all these years after we spoke about it, still is in a sleep.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to...
We're too distracted by the stupid protests and the fraud.
Macron, Rishi Sunak, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. What would you say to them to communicate to them that this is real?
One of the biggest contributors to terrorism and violence actually hypocrites. Because when we are hypocrites, we're not calling things for what they are. We see the Islamists' threat. We see what they're capable of doing. And when I say CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, other intelligence services in the West, most democracies in the West, they know the ideological dimension that motivates terrorists and terrorist attacks. But we prefer not to talk about it because it's Islamophobic, or because it's controversial, or we may offend the Muslims. So now we're submitting to their intimidation when we don't talk about it, when we don't challenge it, that this is not acceptable. You know, it's not acceptable. Life depends on diversity. And the different is appreciated. Yes, we should have human discipline because we are not animals. But also, we don't want someone acting as the sword of God, because then everybody would think that they have this authority, and the only outcome is bloodshed. We have the Muslims who live in the West, and I think there is no problem with that in principle. But don't enforce your religious identity, and when they do, we have to counter it. Like, for example, we cannot separate church and state and allow mosque and state to be united. We cannot just stay asleep while watching the Islamic hubs produce more extremists. And today, you know, we have so many Islamic fanatics who actually preach through social media, through YouTube, and they are based in London, they're based in Paris, and they don't only advocate.
Yeah, London and Paris, you know, that seems to be a glimpse of things to come. Thank God for Trump, because I think he's providing a buffer in the United States. Hopefully it's through Trump that's allowing the being kept from the trials that are coming on the whole world.
For a peaceful Islam, actually, they're just...
I mean, granted, I want safety for everybody, for the entire world, but just based on observation of what's coming, Europe's in shambles, man.
Preaching very dangerous, radical ideologies, the Muslim Brotherhood ideologies that is anti-West, that is anti-civilization, that is representing the 7th century mentality as an alternative to the modern world. And they are protected by the freedom of speech. But there has to be a limit to where you can preach such sick ideology. And I think most of the leaders are afraid, whether they are ignorant of the topic or they have short-term interest and they don't want to compromise this interest. They don't want to offend.
Yeah, the love of money is the root of all evil. How much has that love of money gotten people to ignore what is right in defending freedom of speech, which includes those who are speaking out against such things?
Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia or like Qatar, they have their own calculations. But in the meantime, we cannot hide from the challenge because Islamists are in the West and they are waiting for an angry cause. And this is the dangerous thing about the Palestine. This is why one of the reasons that I came back and I came very strong against the pro-Palestine, because it's not about Palestine. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's anti-West. And it's looking for an angry cause. Yeah. And the more anger they are able to generate, they're creating the climate for those individuals who have been waiting to act. So I don't want to say, what are we waiting for? Like another major terrorist attack? You know, then we are going to understand that we have an enemy within. I hope we don't get to that point. But let me tell you something. From my personal experience, when they start first shouting from the river to the sea, calling for Jewish genocide, it was no time before chaos. And it became suicide bombing attacks, became stabbings, it became mass shootings, it became, everywhere became a target. And Palestine is chaos. Islam is chaos. And of course, this is very hard to say, but I hope that we don't get to the point to see the things going completely out of control, to realize that we have individuals among us that we really need to leash, you know, that they cannot take advantage of the freedom. There is a limit. You know, you cannot advocate on behalf of terrorists and terrorist ideology by the name of freedom of speech. It's not acceptable.
You can't use freedom in a society to shut down freedom.
Yeah, absolutely, but because it's very hard to draw the line, and many people take advantage of this. Take, for example, after 9/11, Muslims went into the hiding for almost a decade or more than this. They're just hiding their identity. And after October 7, it was just next day they start demonstrating against Israel and against the West.
In New York, in London, in Paris, everywhere.
Within a week, they showed so much aggression. And again, this is the bloodlust that I told you about, which is very strange. You look 9/11 and you look October 7, and what's after? Totally different outcomes. So why all this? You know, and this hatred against the Jews that is attracting actually many Westerners who might have something in common, that they are all anti-Semites. And this is what's bringing the Islamists and the communists and the, could be the socialists even, to work together. They have something in common, and that is their hatred towards Israel. But what many Westerners are not understanding, that this is not only anti-Israel, it's anti-success and it's anti-civilization.
Very true.
It's pro-chaos. This type of individuals and this type of movements, they thrive in chaos. They don't like order. In order, they die. And this is why
Anybody see Game of Thrones? The little finger, chaos is a ladder. Sorry.
they want to see more of the chaos.
Mossab hasn't.
Well, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Douglas Murray, Mossab Hassan Youssef, the Green Prince. I mean, I can't think of two more powerful people in the world getting together and describing the truth of the Middle East, describing what's going on in the Islamic world, describing what Mossab talks about. Don't forget, Mossab was the son of one of the founders of Hamas, an Islamic terrorist organization which takes over Gaza in 2005, 2006, runs it mercilessly, murdering people, spreading Sharia law. If you want to see what Sharia law society looks like, that was Gaza. They took money from American taxpayers, Canadian taxpayers, Australian taxpayers, European taxpayers. Hamas leadership, the Palestinian leadership, took all that money and built over 300 miles of underground terror tunnels, weapons factories. They planted
Kind of makes you wonder what the Somalis have been up to. And Waltz.
their weapons
Frey.
factories under hospitals,
Omar.
under nursery schools, started firing at Israel for many years, missiles, which are weapons of mass destruction. And on October 7th, they unleashed one of the worst massacres in the history of the world.
Yeah.
One of the worst massacres of Jews since the Holocaust.
Yeah, that was death followed by hell. For those of you who are watching who aren't aware, seal number 4 in Book of Revelation, death followed by hell. Death started on October 7th, 2023, followed by hell, which is when Israel responded with Operation Iron Sword and proceeded to decimate Gaza as they methodically tried to save lives and retrieve the hostages that had been taken.
1,200 people were murdered, children beheaded, burnt to death, people raped in front of their family members.
Yeah.
They took 250 hostages and brought them into the dungeon tunnels of Gaza to torture them for 2 years, using them as hostages. And of course, they hid behind their human shields of innocent people.
Yep.
This is what Islamic fundamentalists do when they take over societies. And Douglas Murray made a tremendous point. You can't use freedom to take away freedom. That's exactly what's happening in the Western world.
Yeah.
We're not talking about good Muslims. We're talking about people coming here who are sponsored by, ideologically, the Muslim Brotherhood, an organization in the 1920s which arose after the end of the Ottoman Empire. Its goal was to destroy the Western world. And I got to tell you something, Arab Muslim countries are much smarter than Western countries. The Muslim Brotherhood is banned in countries like Egypt and Jordan and other places in Saudi Arabia. They know of the dangers of what's happening in Islamic society, Islamofascist society. And that's exactly what's happening now in the West. So the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and other organizations set up shop in the West. They saw the opportunity, the money, the power, the freedom.
The open borders. Thank you, Biden.
Of the West. They set up shop in England. They set up shop in France. There are no-go zones.
You know what's interesting about all this is you can see just step by step the setup of everything that's led to where we are today. You know, and I think that was the whole purpose behind the 4 living creatures saying, come and see, come and see, come and see, come and see. There's no living creature saying the same thing here, because now we have this pattern to follow, which is informing us. Like, you saw the setup, you saw how you got there, you saw why it happened. Now you're going to see what's next.
In France today, dangerous places where Jews are being murdered, like in synagogues in Manchester. They set up in Australia. We saw the Bondi massacre about 2 months ago, where 15 people were murdered by 2 Islamists trained by ISIS in the Philippines, came back, father and son, the wanton slaughter of 15 innocent people. That's what's happening in Islamic society.
And if you don't know, those 2 men, the 2 men who participated in that slaughter, the guns they had were legal, which is incredibly difficult in Australia. They were rifles. I can only imagine. I haven't confirmed this myself, but they probably was under the guise of hunting. But they were legal weapons. They weren't smuggled. They weren't stolen. And even when I was in Australia for business, there were shops you could buy rifles and ammunition. So even as tough as they are on weapons there, yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, it's not like they smuggled them in. They trained for that day. They had the weapons, and they, you know, you saw what they did.
That is why they want to spread Sharia law. They know, according to Mossab Hassan Youssef, They want to spread chaos. And that's exactly what that is.
And
When
unfortunately, Australia is reacting as Australia does to make it even harder for people to defend themselves.
the pro-Hamas genocidal protesters on the left and the Islamists took over the campuses of Harvard and Princeton and Yale and all around the world in Columbia, they had one goal in mind, and they said it very clearly: from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The mayor of New York refuses to condemn the term globalize the intifada.
You know, these leftists who, with severe Trump derangement syndrome, and the ones who are singing from the river to the sea, I can't imagine what they're going to, with this coming to the West, what are they going to do when it's at their doorstep?
Because he wants to globalize the intifada. He wants
and it's their head on the table.
Absolute chaos. Why would they want such a thing? Because they want to destroy Western civilization.
Yeah.
And unlike in 9/11 about 25 years ago, where Islamists murdered over 3,000 people, as Mossad said, they went underground for a decade. But after October 7th, before Israel could even fight back, they were screaming from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, and globalizing intifada. They wanted murder. They wanted chaos. They worked very carefully, the left, who gave them the language of freedom, the language of human rights. They worked carefully with the left to take down our campuses in the United States and Canada, to take away freedom of speech. That wasn't a debate on the campuses.
Yeah.
They were beating up Jewish students, intimidating people, breaking into campuses, causing absolute chaos. What you saw happening after October 7th on American campuses is what's happening in Islamic societies. They want absolute rule. They want absolute chaos. They want to destroy our societies. These are not people coming to debate and talk civilly about what's going on. It's about murder and destruction. The more they do it, and we just saw that happen in Manchester in a synagogue. We saw that happen in Bondi. We saw people who are Hamas supporters calling for the murder of Jews in synagogues in New York City, in Brooklyn, and in Queens, and in New Jersey, and in California. They want absolute chaos. And what they do, unfortunately, is once they call for chaos and Western democracies don't stop them and fight back, unfortunately, massacres like we saw in Bondi happen quite frequently. They build up a type of rapture, an anti-Semitic rapture between the far left and the Islamists together until murder happens. That's why it's so important that people need to condemn these activities, speak out with truth, as does Mossad and as does Douglas Murray in this fantastic video. But of course, I want to hear what you have to say about this. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, leave your comments below, and we'll see you in future great videos.
Oh shoot, I forgot to record this. I'm going to have to download it from YouTube to make our shorter versions for tomorrow. Just realized that. Darn it. All right, so let's do our timeline report.
I created the heavens and the earth, a perfect harmony, a timeless birth. I shaped the stars.
Okay, I want to show you how these things seem to be lining up based on everything that we've seen. So this seems to be seal number 4, Matthew 24:15. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Furious told me that there's a lot of understanding to be gained by learning about Muslims and Islam, because a lot of these things, with the animal sacrifice, with the sacrifices being removed, there's Islamic equivalents that I'm just not aware of because I haven't spent a lot of time studying Islam. So I'm going to be spending time kicking my butt to study those things. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house, and let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days, and pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. Now this is where we're getting ready to go into. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not been since the beginning of the world. So we were here. This was seal number 4. And we're getting ready to go into here. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not been since the beginning of the world. We can see the setup with what has happened. The Biden administration, the union with the United Kingdom, open borders has allowed invasions. We can see that, we can understand Islam and its objectives and its main purpose is to conquer and convert, which lines up with these things. For then there will be great tribulation, such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Some of the things you can expect during this time. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. I should get a t-shirt that says that. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. This should be waking up the Jews. Yeshua is the Messiah you're waiting for. He told us these things beforehand so that you will believe. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out, or look, he is in the inner room, do not believe it. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to look at what comes next. So we're going to start with this second beast, because this is what I think we're getting ready to see. In the next 6 months, I think we're going to have a lot more answers regarding this beast from the land. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon, and he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those to dwell on it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. There's a few things that could fit this, but I'm expecting to see more in the days ahead. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and its causes many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. Don't believe this is technology. This is likely something doctrinal or religious. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. I have a lot of strong opinions on this. Some things I don't talk about a lot on the show. We'll get into those things, trust me. But this is what I want to read. This is really what I want to focus on for our timeline report, is this stuff, because this is dealing with the Great Tribulation and what's coming after this. This is kind of what to look forward to. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. This is why I believe the mark of the beast is religious or doctrinal, because the 144,000 have the lamb's father's name written on their foreheads. In other words, they serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the same God that Yeshua serves, and who is Yeshua's father. And I heard a voice from heaven, like a voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. They sang, as it were, a new song before the throne, before the 4 living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn the song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. These are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to God and to the Lamb, and in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne. We didn't read this, but they started to be sealed. The 144,000 started to be sealed. Where is it they started to get? I guess we could go read this real quick. Revelation 6, right there. You can always tell it because it's this big list. Let's see. So this is back in the sealed of Israel. So this is right after seal number 6, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's chronological. I've explained this before, that just because it's placed here is just because of how text works. It's very likely kind of like if you were watching a TV show and they did like a previously, or they did like a flashback, 3 years previously. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds, likely the 4 living creatures, to be honest, that the wind should not blow on the earth or the sea. So I imagine the sealing of the 144,000 probably started back here. That's when a lot of people said they felt activated, quote unquote. I imagine that's also when those who are the 144,000 were sealed. They said, do not harm the earth, the sea, or the trees till we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And you got those tribes, and then you got a multitude from the Great Tribulation. So I imagine that they started to be sealed here, and somewhere in here they're redeemed. So now if we jump back to 14. It's just easier to scroll with this program. Reaping the earth's harvests. So let's see, did I finish the 144,000? No, I didn't. Okay, let's finish this here. Yeah, here. No deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God. Okay, now this is the proclamation of 3 angels. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water. Again, this is just reinforcing why I believe the mark of the beast is religious, is because you have this combat here between beliefs. It's like you need to get who you worship right. You worship, let's see, angels flying in the midst of the heaven to dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and springs of water. That is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the father of Yeshua. And another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark on their forehead or on his hand, he himself also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image. So there's an element of worship there. And whoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Then I heard a loud voice of heaven saying, write to me, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. Here's the reaping the earth's harvests. So there was a reason I read all of this, because this is what I wanted to get to. Then I looked, and behold, I think this is seal number 6. So this, as much as I don't want to admit it, this could be seal number 5. All of the stuff that happens in here. So we could be looking at the rise of the second beast from the sea. So, like I said, the next 6 months are going to be immensely important. Reaping the earth's harvest. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So he who sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on earth, and earth was reaped. Now, if we come back over here to Matthew 24, seems to be seal number 6. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered. The eagles here is a form of bird. It's a type of vulture, the word that's used there. For wherever the carcass is, there the vulture will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes. So here we've got him. So then the sign of man will appear in heaven. Then all the tribes of earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with great power and great glory. I think that's this. And I looked, and behold, in a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And here you had, and he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to another. So what's interesting is people wonder if there's multiple. So if this is the rapture, you could call this the rapture. The word's not used here. You're better off just saying harvests because it's more accurate. There's another harvest after this. So this seems to be seal 5 and 6, what's written here. So it seems as though the beast from the earth, the lamb and the 144,000, the proclamations of the angels, and the reaping of earth seem to be this period of time right here. Because then you've got God's wrath up here, which is seal 7, which is the reaping the grapes of wrath. Then another angel came out of the temple, which is in the heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar who had power over fire. And he cried with a loud cry to him who had a sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. So the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles for 1,600 furlongs. So those who are kept from the wrath are the ones who are reaped here, those who follow Yeshua. So there seems to be those, maybe that's what it means to be kept from the trials coming on the whole world, is reaping of the harvest. So seal number 6. So what it looks like where we are in the timeline, it looks like we're about here. And then after that, we're going to be here. That's what it looks like. So you guys have any questions, comments? What do y'all think? Watchful, do you think it's okay to seek the rabbis for teaching, like what false teacher Paula White said? Islam is definitely an issue, but so is the other one, the papal Roman Empire coming up from side. Yeah, so I think it's fine. Yeah, seek knowledge anywhere you can find it. You know, I don't think one of the things when I was in a cult, the thing they tried to stop you from doing was asking questions. So my knee-jerk reaction is to ask questions, because I think people are smart enough and strong enough to discern for themselves the difference between truth and error. And the more knowledge that you can gain and the more you can test it, the more wisdom that you have. There's a saying I haven't said in a long time, but I think it's true, is the truth withstands the fire of, what's the saying? Scrutiny. Truth withstands the fire of scrutiny. So yeah, by all means, seek information, talk to rabbis, talk to teachers. You'll definitely get pushback from people who have strong beliefs, and there are those who are, no man knows the day or hour. There are those who are ignorant, those who are not watching And Jesus addresses them and says, if you do not watch, I will come upon you like a thief in the night. For if the good man of the house had watched, or for if the good man of the house had known in what hour the thief would come, he would have watched. And that's the point is, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't do any of that watching or time setting or timeline setting. It's not me. This is not me making this stuff up. This is us just looking at the events that are happening on the earth. This stuff, these are factual things that happen. COVID actually happened, just so happened that started on the day of an eclipse. Biden happened. So did the vaccine. It happened. It just so happens that it started on the day of an eclipse. And he really did take peace from the earth. And he really did almost destroy the United States of America. And it just so happened that the United States and the United Gather yoked themselves together with the New Atlantic Charter, which introduced a whole host of problems between the two countries. Europe got the worst of it. This did happen. The Al-Aqsa flood, in the opinion of some, worst tragedy to ever happen. But I think there's more to come, unfortunately, so these set a pattern, and we're seeing so many of the things that Yeshua told us about come to pass that it now makes sense to where I believe now's the time for the Jews to start waking up. So many of them are looking for the Messiah. So many of them they think he's here or they think he's just about to be here. And with all of these things coming to pass, many of them are very close. I really do believe that Tovia Singer is very close to believing that Jesus is the Messiah. I mean, he just gave a talk not too long ago that literally sounded like he was defending Jesus as the Messiah. I don't know if he realized that, but we're in this period of time. So yeah, seek knowledge by all means. Don't be deceived, though. If somebody starts making you feel bad or somebody starts making you feel like an idiot, probably not somebody you want to respect or value their judgment. Yeah, the thing about false prophets and false teachers is there's different levels of that. Are they a false prophet because of maturity? Like they just haven't experienced enough life. They don't really know enough of the scripture, and they're just defaulting to the things that they've learned. Does that make them a bad person? No, they're your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. I've seen so many people who have had one opinion change as they've matured and learned. And then you have people who are deceived demonically, who have some kind of external force which is manipulating what it is that they believe. So you've got false teachers and false prophets. If you're strong enough, if you can recognize those things, you can pray for those people and help deliver them. Hopefully they have enough humility to listen to reason if it's a maturity thing. Some people don't. Some people you just got to walk away from and let God mature them a little bit through tribulation. There's nothing like tribulation is great for eliminating excuses. Let's see. Of course, we can learn from them. Just as Scripture says, call no one rabbi. Jesus is the only rabbi, high priest. A lot of rabbis hate Jesus, especially the ones who follow Talmud, that want to deceive. Yeah, I mean they're everywhere. False prophets and false teachers are everywhere. There's just truth and there's error, and everybody wants to box up their beliefs into a package that they can sell you. And you just got to be careful what you buy into. It's your personal walk with God. I think that's what makes us the temple of God, is that it's really your personal walk with the creator of the heavens and the earth. Be careful what packages you're buying into and living your life according to, because there's definitely packaged religion out there that will enslave you. Thankfully, all of this stuff is coming to an end. Thankfully, hopefully, for those who follow Yeshua, this stuff's going to be, we're going to be with him. I would love to be with him as soon as possible, and I hope we are in 2026. This is extremely exciting to me, and I hope I'm not wrong about this. Would not be the first time I was wrong. Go watch some of my videos on I Am Watchful, how I've gotten excited about the rapture. I'm not getting so excited about the rapture right now. Maybe after February. Of course, it's hard to say you're excited during a great tribulation with what seems to be in store. That is something I'm wrestling with. How do you comfort somebody with this kind of stuff? With like when you see this kind of trouble, how do you comfort somebody? The best I can say is be prepared, and be excited that it only is going to last for a short time. That sin and transgression is coming to an end. That's the thing that we can be excited about. And meeting Yeshua. I was on a comment stream with VP Earthwatch today, saying we should all come up with jokes that we can tell Jesus when he returns to see who can make him laugh first. Mine was what did I say today? I said coming like a thief in the night, huh? And then you show up in a cloud with glory. Subtlety's kind of lost on you, isn't it? Anyway. Well, that's all I got for you guys. You have any other questions before we go and call it a night? Rabbi did not mean high priest. Let's see, you need to study scripture more so you don't misquote or misinterpret it. Are you talking to me? I did misquote some things. Let's see, no, scripture doesn't say that. It says, call no man Oh, okay, you're referring to somebody in the comment. Yes, indeed. Details matter. Absolutely. And iron sharpens iron. If you love somebody, correct them, and they will love you for it. If somebody doesn't love you for correcting them, well, I mean, there is strategy in correction too. There's loving ways to correct people, but by and large, you should love to be corrected. That's how we gain wisdom. All right, anything else? Trying to think, what should we do tomorrow? I've been wanting to get into the parables. Tomorrow, maybe, unless something comes up, I'd love to get into these guys here. Like the parable of the fig tree, illustration of the days of Noah, illustration of the two servants, parable of the 10 virgins, parable of the talents. This is all kind of like what you should be doing while you wait. Yeah, maybe we'll get into that. Depends. We'll see. Maybe we'll read that tomorrow. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Really appreciate it. Anything else? Nope. I think we're good. Yep. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like this content, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to get the notifications. So the way that I'm patterning the channel now is the live stream. I don't turn on monetization. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not. I don't turn on monetization for the live stream, but when I cut it up and make shorter videos that I repost as videos on the channel, I am turning on monetization for those ones. And the reason is not to actually generate money, but it's because YouTube absolutely changes the algorithm based on monetization. They will work harder at actually pushing the video because they make money on it. So it's not something that I want to do, and I've actually tested this and tried to not monetize the videos for the last year. I've not monetized the videos. Yeah, for the last year, all of 2025, I didn't monetize the videos, and I don't know if anybody noticed, but YouTube will just start clearing out subscribers and will basically like shadow ban you. Like they're very reluctant to show your video to people. But man, as soon as you turn on that monetization, they start pushing it out to everybody, especially if you're consistently posting. I don't know if you guys have noticed, the subscribership is going up. There's a lot of new people in the chat now as a result. So it's a necessary evil. And honestly, we don't mind having a little bit of extra income. It's not a ton. I mean, like, Yeah, it's not a ton. You don't make a whole lot of money on YouTube until you get into like the viral videos that get like 10,000 plus views. Those ones make, decent amounts that can add up. That's why you see people constantly chasing the viral content. Anyway, so expect the commercials during those ones. So if you want the commercial-free experience, join us for the live video Monday through Friday at 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern time. I will see you guys tomorrow at 4:30. God bless you and shalom.